He got that from North Carolina or whatever.
Come back to open meeting session.
Can't hear the mic.
I'll entertain a motion.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I make a motion to move out of closed session.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Slater,
Yes.
Ms. Manat, Dr. Chair.
Thank you. The next agenda item is the Academy's transition. I know that just prior to us going into closed session, there was a lot of questions in regards to why is New Paradigm still here? What's going to be happening with this whole situation with the school? So I did prepare some notes and some contractual language to read to you. And hopefully I can give you some information as to why we're here at this point, what's going to happen as we move forward, and why it's occurring as is at this particular time. Good evening. As we are all aware, New Paradigm has requested the termination of a contractual agreement with us on the Muskegon Heights Public School Academy System. The reason for this request for termination was due to the non-payment of the management fees by the system board. That breach has been satisfied, which means all management fees have been paid through January 31st, 2023. It has been decided by both the Academy System and New Paradigm for Education to continue with the termination process, which means that between now and June 30th, or whenever all student documents, operational systems, IT, financial, and critical elements are back in place that will allow for the education of our students. At which point we will also have a incoming education management system to absorb those operational duties that New Paradigm at one time was in charge of. The terms of the transaction or transition are as follows. And what I'm going to read in your hearing now is the contract that we, the Academy, signed with New Paradigm, beginning July 1 or a few months before that, but the contract was in force from July 1 and it was scheduled to go into effect for 5 years. But because of mitigating circumstances, you know what they are. We now have come to the point where we both, the Academy and New Paradigm, saying we're not going to move forward. We want to end the contract at the end of the school year because New Paradigm contractually has an obligation to assist us with the transition of getting everything back, our financial records, our IT, our whatever went into place to accommodate New Paradigm has to come back to the system. So I'm going to read some contractual language that says that there's an obligation contractually for that transition to move forward. And transition means process. It's not like you make a decision today and it's done tomorrow. So contractually there has to be a transition period so that everything that was put in place to accommodate the New Paradigm system comes back to the Academy system via another EMO, Educational Management Organization, which we are now in position. We have a review team that are looking at RFPs or requests for proposals from 7 different entities that would like to come on board and be a part of that, and we have to wade through those. So we're doing that process now. We've had to do a lot of things in concert because we've got so many moving parts. But our goal is to make certain that this transition does not uproot our students, that they will not feel as if the walls are coming down. That's our goal. And that's why it's a transition process, which may take 30 days, it may take 60 days, it may take 90 days. We don't know what that is. But with a definite cutoff is going to be June 30th of this year. Line drawn in the sand. So, contractually, and I can read the language, or you can read it for yourself, we are both obligated, the system and new paradigm, to make this transition as less disruptive as possible. And that's the goal. And in the end, we want our students to win. So I'm going to read a few of the contractual excerpts that I selected. Termination by either party without cause. When I said it without cause, but they're just saying if you have a situation like that. If New Paradigm and the system board are unable to agree on educational programs, curriculum, or other educational policies that affect the system in a significant way, either party may elect to terminate the agreement at the end of the school year, provided that the terminating party gives the other party written notification of termination at least 90 calendar days prior to the termination date, and provides that other party with an opportunity within that period to negotiate an agreement on the education policy at issue. That's one aspect of it. Another part of the contract says, effective date of termination. In the event this agreement is terminated by either party prior to the end of the term specified in this agreement, absent unusual or compelling circumstances, that termination will not become effective until the end of the school year. That's on page 17 of the contract. Another part of the contract says, upon termination, New Paradigm and any ESP shall, without charge, close the books on their current fiscal month, organize and prepare the system's records for transition to the new ESP, education service provider, organize and prepare student records for transition to the new ESP, and provide for the orderly transition of employee compensation and benefits to the new ESP without disruption to staffing and students. All contracts entered into by New Paradigm with another ESP for service at the system shall provide as such. So, the reason that we're here, where we are right now, is because we don't want everything to go out the door. We want to make certain that things are in order and we proceed in an orderly fashion. Protocol. That's what it's all about. We know what has occurred. If we could have chosen something different, we would have, but that's where we are. And we need all of us to work together to make this a smooth transition for our students. That's the bottom line for us, I believe. So, I cannot entertain questions on this because I'm in this part of the session, but I will gladly, or the board will, listen to any written concerns, any more of things that you want us to show in the contract. We'll be willing to do this because we really want to get to this together on one accord so that we can start to build back better. Build back better. Thank you. The next item on our discussion is an interim superintendent, because in the transition, the board will hire an interim superintendent, which means we're going to have someone in place from March 1st to June 30th on an interim basis. After that, we'll have to discuss we'll be doing further in the next year. But for right now, and that's what we're dealing with, we're going to have a person come on board to help us mitigate, walk through, get us to where we need to be for our students in this time frame. Because this is new, at least for me, and most of us, the board. This whole transit is a new item for us. And we want to be done in the most prudent, professional manner possible. With that being said, we have a candidate that we've vetted. We've had several people that we've talked with, but we have a candidate that we feel will position us or assist us in this transition. So the board is going to call him forward. He's going to turn around and introduce himself to you, but you can't ask him questions yet. We're going to talk with him.
That sounds like
let
some
you
dictator
hear who
stuff.
he is, what he's all about,
Right.
as brief as possible
That
or
ain't
as long
transparent.
as possible, and then we'll go from there. At this time,
Man, come on, man.
I can read.
at this time, we're going to introduce you, Mr. And I'm going to let him tell you his name because I always forget. So, Mr. Broadneck, would you come forward, please, and introduce yourself to the community, and then have a seat, and then.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, my name is Rod Broadnax. You'll see Rodriguez Broadnax, but it's Rod Broadnax. I am in my 23rd year of education. I'm originally from North Carolina, and I have worked in Indiana, Nevada, South Dakota, Mississippi, and now Michigan. And so the situation here that I've seen here in Muskegon reminds me of my time in Mississippi, where I was called by the governor and state board of education to turn around one of the lowest performing school districts in the country, not just in Mississippi. And so I have served. I started as a teacher assistant years ago, 2000, and have worked my way up. And so I have turned every school district around that I worked for. When I was as superintendent in Nevada, went from a D to a B in 2 years. We went to South Dakota. I was recruited by the South Dakota School Boards Association. And we took that district, and our scores went up, and specifically our special education students in 6th grade scored 66.7% growth on our state test. 93% of our juniors scored proficient on the state assessment. Of course now, assessments are what we're judged by. I don't particularly like that, but that's what we're judged by. And then going to Mississippi, we had $0, 0 cents in the bank, negative $989,000 fund balance, a $277,000 cash, couldn't even really make payroll. And so, and the district was a F for 5 straight years, and the district was violating 90%, 26 of the 32 accreditation standards when I arrived. Of course, there was a knot in my stomach. But when Ray and Associates recruited me to come to Michigan, when I left, we had $10 million in the bank. We had, in the fund balance, we had $6.7.4 million in our cash balance. The district was projected to be a C, and 90% of the accreditation standards were cleared when I left. I am very approachable, very likable. I always tell my team, in order to be successful in these roles, you got to be likable. I'm always in the schools. Every student that I have, they know who I am. I do have 5 children of my own. I'm married, have 5 kids, 3 of them in high school, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. All 3 of them will come here if the board chooses to hire me. I believe if I'm the leader, I have to invest like I'm the leader of school district and bring my children with me. And so I will be doing that if the board chooses to hire me. My boys they play football and basketball, and so they are just waiting on Daddy's next stop. So, if the board hires me tonight, they will come. I do have an open door, and will be in schools all the time.